I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life. Hello there.
What's up, man?
Oh, just sitting in my kitchen,
Nice.
sipping on some Java.
Java Kitchen.
Java Kitchen. That's the name of my kitchen because
Yes.
it's like a restaurant where we make coffee and that's it. And cook things exclusively with coffee.
Yes.
We do like
coffee rubs and
coffee rub pork butts. Let's see. We give coffee enemas.
ew.
Apparently that's extremely invigorating. I can't say that I've had one, but can you imagine, giving yourself the Stevie Nicks treatment with some coffee? And then having it all come out, like basically flushing your system and putting caffeine up. This is a really interesting thing to be talking about so early in an episode.
Hey, whatever, man.
We haven't even hit a minute yet, and all of a sudden we're talking about coffee enemas. But, in the Project Reclamation universe, anything that helps you lead a better life
Absolutely.
is fair game to be talked about. So.
Well, and dude, Greenfield talks about coffee enemas all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some anecdotal evidence of a guy that beat some sort of cancer by basically juicing and like juicing vegetables and certain fruits and giving himself coffee enemas
Interesting.
for 6 months. I don't know if it's true. I mean, it kind of makes sense because you're giving yourself organic vegetables and all the stuff that your body needs and flushing out all the bad stuff. So,
for sure.
but I'm not a doctor by any means. So if you do unfortunately have cancer, don't take my treatment.
Don't trick.
Visit a doctor.
Go see a doctor.
Yeah, but I
Not
mean,
a
it's
doctor.
kind of cool to think about that if that's maybe a possibility.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
So go put some coffee in your butt. He has
I could just imagine somebody listening to this and being like, "Wait, you just put coffee in your butt?"
dude. Well, Greenfield has a whole episode about how to do it, and it's interesting.
I don't even know if I want to tell you my visualization of that, but
You might as well. We've already gone this far.
like leaning up against the wall, how you do the pose where you're on your shoulders and your toes are touching above your head, and you have you have a funnel and you're trying to pour cold brew coffee in your butt.
Yeah, I don't think it works quite that way.
I don't think it does either, but that's where my twisted weird mind goes.
No, you can buy a kit apparently, and it's
I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's probably a colotherapy kit or something like that.
Yeah, you can probably get it on Amazon or something.
All right. Well, that was a good episode talking about butt coffee.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
Hey, enjoy your
See you later. Have a good week.
big gulps, huh? All right.
Yeah, big gulps. All right. Well,
So what's new? What's new in the whale's vagina?
No, Comic-Con just wrapped up.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I wasn't in that episode, but give me the highlights. Give me the. I'm sorry for all of you who listened to that episode, and I'm terrible.
I mean, it was a lot of business as usual. They did a bunch of stuff. Some of the crew went to some of the big Hall H panels. So I know Marvel was there, and they announced kind of their little lineup.
I heard Game of Thrones had some serious not controversy, but just backlash because basically everybody in the world hates the fact that they ended the season that way, and the showrunners didn't show up, and all the cast didn't show up, and
it was
it's kind of sad, dude, that it's
it was
tarnished
a little
like that now.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man.
Here's my thing. When you are the showrunner, which is basically a fancy term for the writers, and you have 8 years of plot lines and story development, and you have one season to tie it all up, I feel for them.
I do too.
I get it. I was a little bit and a little bit disappointed, but at the same time,
Yeah.
they didn't have 2 seasons or, to really let it kind of, dissolve. And do you want it is it better to burn out than to fade away? Like, I don't know.
Oh, I think they burned that one out.
Well, but
that's possibly can.
But that's what you kind of have to do. It has to be.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I would like to. I'd like to know, and I know there's like 10 million different opinions. I'd like to know what the general consensus was on like how they would have liked to ended the season.
No, that's my question, and like I feel like anybody who like understood the show at all and was expecting to not be disappointed. I mean, the show's always been about disappointment. Like your favorite
pretty much.
Die.
I mean,
like, that's
exactly.
The whole
At least
fucking
one or
show.
two or three a
so
season.
Anybody that expected something to wrap up in some like happy fucking go lucky way, like I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of one of these things, and I'm sure there are plenty of Game of Thrones fan fiction dudes that are like, oh, this is what I would have done. And I'm like, hey, that's great, dude. Go start writing and send it in, which I'm sure they maybe have. But
I think there's a podcast called How It Should Have Ended or something like that.
Oh, because I know there's plenty of Game of Thrones podcasts that talk like plotline analysis and stuff like that.
Game of Thrones. I think it's just in general. I think they do alternate endings.
Got
to
it.
stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I'll have to go check that out.
And then I went to a lot of different like smaller panels, which they have a lot of really cool panels and like workshops and stuff. I mean, they had a couple of like podcast workshops where they had people from different successful podcasts kind of giving advice and whatnot.
Nice.
And there was a cool one. It was a science session. And they had the science consultants from Marvel, Game of Thrones, and Breaking Bad.
Oh wow!
That was actually really
physics,
cool.
like how, like is this really
I think
possible?
2 of them were like
exactly.
Well, and then kind of like as a science liaison, like it just depends. For Breaking Bad, obviously
chemistry.
So she was a chemist. But I guess Vince Gilligan wanted to keep it because they're operating in a. It takes place in the real world.
Yeah.
So obviously the science was supposed to be
legit. Does meth turn that like ice blue,
no,
kind of thing? Like
no, it does not. Apparently,
that was kind of my thing. Like, and I've only seen the first season. I've haven't. I know. I need to binge it. But I'm assuming that they're there to talk about that stuff. We turned to blue because it's more entertaining and it can see it in a baggie and all this stuff. And
no, I actually heard that came up with one of the questions, like what irritated you. What did they do in the show that irritated you? And she's like, the blue meth. She's like, yeah. Vince came up to me and he's like, what if the meth was blue?
This is a polar freeze meth. It's got a minty flavor to it.
She goes, well, it wouldn't be. It would be white. He's like, well, what if it was really pure? She goes, that'd be really, really white. He goes, what if it was really, really, really pure? She goes, that'd be really, really, really white. And she's like, and she goes, and clearly he didn't listen to me because it's blue, but hey.
Well, I can imagine it probably being like cocaine. I mean, it's white powder that, or whatever is it the antihistamine that they use? No, pseudoephedrine.
Yeah, pseudoephedrine.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think with that one they also wanted to make it realistic, but I think they wanted to stay away from how to make meth kind of a platform.
Right. This is not a Clips Notes.
Yeah. So no, but it was super interesting.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I would like to see because I'm not a big Marvel guy. I would like to. I think I need to figure out a way to go next year.
Yeah,
because I would love to go check it out and do the smaller things and maybe dress up like an idiot. Because that's me too. But check out the cool shit.
Me too.
No, that's me, too.
Ah.
I don't even know if there's supposed to be a comma there.
Maybe Me Too was our topic for the day.
No.
It's probably
speaking of probably being able to figure out what I'm saying better is I think our topic today is self-awareness and as it pertains to manners and being around other people.
Yes.
If you're walking through an airport or a mall or just down the street, please, I implore you, to look around and be courteous to those who are walking with you. Let's employ the right slow lane, left fast lane rule, where if you're going slower, get over to the right so that those who are going faster can pass you on the left. Especially if you're on the people movers at Denver International Airport. They're wide enough for 2 or even 3 people sometimes. So if you're standing there on the left with your roller bag, and you're just standing, move over, please. Thank you. And this concludes JB's Ramble Minute.
So, yeah. So self-awareness, huh?
Self-awareness. Basically, what brought this on, and it's kind of a gripe, and I hate to be negative, but it frustrated me a lot. Actually, it's been frustrating me a lot lately, is driving down the highway or walking through an airport or walking through anything that there's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. People just don't, they're not aware of their surroundings.
No.
And
not at all.
I don't know why. I don't know what's causing it. For instance, so I was traveling this week and we flew through Denver, and they have this, if you've been to Denver Airport, they have the big people movers like they do at many airports. You know, they're like flat escalators that move you faster than everywhere else, just in case you didn't know what a people mover was. And they're wide enough for 2 people to comfortably walk or walk faster or stand and walk faster. And it's the whole, freeway, driving on the freeway. The right lane is slow and the left lane is fast. But
makes sense.
There's people that would stand there like 2 abreast or just stand in the quote unquote fast lane. And it really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let's talk about it. Maybe we'll plant the seed of people trying to be a little bit more self-aware. And I get it that, everybody's got their own, world that they're living in, and that's totally fine. But we don't all live in a bubble, and we have to coexist and interact with other people. So I want to kind of get your take, and if you feel the same way about it, and maybe we can brain bash, spit bubble, or whatever it's called, some ideas on how to on how to help people figure it out. I don't know.
I think just paying attention is the first part.
That's probably true. I mean, for instance, there's the Major League Baseball is going through a lot of shit right now with there's backlash of wanting all the teams to put up nets along the first and third lines because people are getting hit by balls more often. And I don't know if it's more now, or if it's just being publicized more, or if it is more because people aren't paying attention.
Well, they're just
if they're on their phone,
posting something to Instagram, or
yeah. If you're just there, and you're taking pictures with your phone, or you're checking Facebook or something like that, and then you hear the pop fly, and there's people that happens all the time. People have been hit by bats. People have been hit by balls, and that's my question too. Is it happening because people aren't paying attention, or are we just getting more of it now are we just hearing about it more now because of media and stuff like that? So.
It is interesting.
Obviously, people are calling for action because one of those 2 things. So,
right.
Both of those things are a problem.
And again, paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and people just, I don't know, I feel like people are just so wrapped up in a lot of their own shit that they're either not paying attention, or they just, I don't know, like there's like a lack of common courtesy and manners, I feel like, these days.
Yeah, like we're all riding on our own, little motorcycle or through life, and with blinders on almost.
Yeah.
But don't.
For sure, man.
That's the end of the episode. All right, have a good episode, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I consider myself a pretty self-aware person, and I'm not talking, about Well, yeah, I mean, I guess there's things that I need to work on, like we all do, but
For sure,
I think
but-
what frustrates me is that I see myself as a pretty self-aware person, and doing that ultimately amplifies the fact that a lot of people don't.
I would agree.
And I don't know, maybe whoever's listening to this can email us with some
Give us your ideas.
Give us your ideas. Let's Google. Let's see let's see what the internet says about how to be more self-aware.
I was going to read the definition of self-awareness.
Do it, man.
Self-awareness is the capacity for introspection and the ability to recognize oneself as an individual separate from the environment and other individuals. It is not to be confused with consciousness in the sense of qualia. Interesting.
Qualia. I don't even know what that means.
Neither do I. Here's a much simpler one. Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires.
See, I think maybe the self-awareness thing, they're thinking more introspectively. Because I just looked up how to develop and increase self-awareness, and it says look at yourself objectively. Well, that makes sense. Look at yourself in a non-emotional. So that pops you out of your sort of kind of blinders, I would imagine. Keep a journal. Write down your goals, plans, and priorities. Perform daily self-reflection. Practice meditation. The self-reflection will be good too, because then you'll be like, all right, well, but if you're not aware of it, you don't know that you maybe piss somebody off by, cutting them off on the freeway and not noticing, Practice meditation and other mindfulness habits. Take a personality or psychometric test. Interesting. I want to take a psychometric test. I have no idea what that means.
I think it's just like a personality test.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, whatever. Ask trusted friends to describe you. That's kind of a cool one.
I like that.
I feel like that's because a lot of people don't, I don't see myself the way other people see me, I think. Obviously, I'm very critical of myself. I still kind of see myself as that 17-year-old kid driving the camo Dodge truck around,
Yeah.
But now I have gray hair and 2 kids and a wife. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I think that's a really valuable one, too. Hey, call up a friend, be like, that you've seen and talked to recently, and be like, hey, describe me. You know,
for sure.
That's kind of a cool one.
It gives you kind of some insight into the version of you that, other people see, which I think is important.
Well, it is, and you shouldn't base your entire existence, but if you lack in confidence, it may actually kind of crest that, I need a little bit more confidence, thing.
Sure.
Because they're obviously going to see you probably more positively than you see yourself. I mean, we all kind of have, everybody I know has a little bit of issue with self-esteem. I mean, I know some pretty, narcissistic people, but let's see. Ask for feedback at work. That's another good one too.
I like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, Tim, describe
so now we know
me.
a little bit. It's fucking hard, dude.
I know.
You're a caring individual.
Sweet.
You're funny.
Sweet.
You're not a complete douchebag.
Oh, well, that's always a start.
I don't know. You're a good dad and a good husband.
Thanks, man.
And you have high EQ. You think outside the box.
Well,
there you go.
I think we share that as friends.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Thus, this podcast.
For sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the yeah. Nice.
So where do we go with this from here?
I don't know. That was kind of I just kind of thought about it, and it was sort of a gripe, and maybe just like a work in progress as far as I wanted to put it out there in the ether and start to, maybe this can be like a recurring thing, because I think this is, in my mind, something that people can work on continuously.
I totally agree.
And that it's only going to help you if you become kind of more self-aware, emotionally and physically, like your initial surroundings and stuff like that. I was obviously talking about the your surroundings. But looking into this, obviously, there's a lot of content and stuff out there about how to do it emotionally and just discovering yourself. And I think in doing that, it will ultimately make you kind of more focused on you not in just you like with blinders on, but you within your surroundings in both of those mediums. So I don't know. And maybe
100%.
that's the only thing that anybody should take from this, because it's obviously there's not a very in-depth, we haven't super researched this. So this is more of just a, hey, let's talk about this. So maybe this was the seed that we needed to plant, and the 20 or 30 people that listen to this, maybe it'll spread. Who knows?
There you go. There you go. Well, I think your gripe was, people just kind of being lost in their own bullshit and not being self-aware of, what's going on around them. I think self-awareness can go deeper than that too, and really kind of looking inward and, figuring out like what are you doing, what are you feeling, and what do you want to do about that.
Well, it can help. Yeah, exactly. My gripe initially was with the side effect of the greater self-awareness issue, the fact that people aren't that self-aware. What I was griping with was just kind of what happens when they're not.
Correct. Yeah.
Whereas if you're becoming more self-aware, it's going to help you in your relationships, because you'll realize, it'll help you be less selfish, because maybe you'll be like, okay, well, if you continue to be selfish, you're doing it knowingly. And if you don't want to be selfish, you'll know that you're not, and remove that from the equation, so it'll help you be, a more appreciative person, a more understanding person in a relationship, in my mind.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say also, I mean, a lot of it, you can positively impact people around you. And I think
of course,
sometimes it's so freaking easy.
Well, and I think people respond to people who are self-aware very positively, because it's a kind of a respect thing, because you see them knowing where they're at and respecting those around them. So you get sort of that glow, that radiation off them, and it's sort of infectious. Because I was in Boise at a show this weekend, and the guy that the director of the video team, and this is something that I try and do, but I've been lacking on, and he sort of reinforced it with me. Every person we walk by, hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
It was whether it was a stagehand having a coiling a cord, or a security guy burning in the heat. Like, I was like, man, I've forgotten to do that, and it bugged me, so I started doing it again. He was very self-aware, and because he was noticing the people he was walking by. He wasn't just walking to his next thing. He's like, that person is sweating in the heat. I want to see how they're doing.
No, that's
and I
awesome.
respected that, and that was one of those things where I was like, okay, I was falling by the wayside on that, and I picked it up.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, and just saying the simplest thing to people and just acknowledging them, it can make such a huge difference that you don't even realize, and it takes such little effort.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and a lot of these guys we were walking by a couple times, 2 or 3 times a day, and hey, how you doing? Hey, or just joke, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, you're sweating it out. You need a bottle of water, kind of thing. Yeah, that goes so far in somebody's life, because you don't know if that's their main gig, or if this is the third job they're working to support their, who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's a huge thing to do in my opinion, and it was kind of a moment of weakness in my mind, because I just started this new gig with the new artist, and you kind of get a little insecure, kind of being the new guy.
Yeah.
And I had lost some of those things, a little bit of confidence maybe, that kept me doing the things that I was used to over the years. And it made me happy to see somebody who I shared that similar, action with, and it's like, okay, cool, and I was like, all right, I need to pick it up, JB, kick myself in the ass a little bit. So
yeah,
that was cool. I take a win from that column.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think? Do you have any instances where either you shine in this, or you could see yourself doing better? Like, Because you deal with a lot of people in sales. I mean, every day.
Yeah, for
you know?
sure. I mean, I think, mine's similar to yours. I think, I try to be aware and acknowledge people, but I could definitely do a better job.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can imagine in your world, receptionists at the doctor's office,
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a huge one because
because they're you think of they're just a receptionist. Well, they're the face of that doctor's office. They're who people come in to see. So they, whether you think they don't hold power or not, or you do, they do, because it's like they're the gatekeepers.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure, man.
And I'm sure a lot of times they get kind of shit on sometimes, because you get people who are coming in who are sick and not feeling well, and they're like, hold on, we gotta fill out this paperwork, yada yada yada, whatever. But you coming in and being and giving them the time and the effort, and treating them like human beings,
It goes a long, long way
for sure.
So yeah, I mean, just. I don't know. I don't know if it's like is it like the whole digital age thing? Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
Shit.
I feel like I throw a lot of our society's ills on that, but at the same time, I think it's justified in a lot of ways, because it is sort of our brains these days. You know, like our phones. I mean, I've seen pictures of, people on a train in the 30s with newspapers, but so like, well, this isn't a new problem. Yeah, but the amount of information coming through that screen at you, we've talked about attention is a kind of a finite thing, and the amount of attention you pay towards something, it can run out, so if you're bombarded by all this, I say quote unquote useless information, a majority of it is pretty useless. Then you're not going to be able to pay attention to the things that kind of matter, i.e. your surroundings.
Sure.
If you're walking down the street looking at your phone, or even in a car listening to a podcast, I've fell victim to that before. In California and Tennessee now, you can't hold your phone in your hand for a good reason.
Yeah.
You get fined. But if you're, emotionally engaged in, say, a podcast episode, or intellectually engaged even, you're driving, you're hurling a 2.5 ton piece of metal 75 miles an hour down the road. That's a pretty big responsibility. So, to say that, I haven't fallen victim to not paying attention to my surroundings 100%. I'm completely guilty of that. But I think as humans too, we are becoming better at that, multitasking, because we do it on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that we should, but
no,
I think toning it down a little bit will only help us pay attention better to the things that actually do matter, interacting analog with people,
I think physiologically we're not very good at multitasking. So I think people might think they're better than they really are.
True.
So I think that.
Well, I think we're better now than we were 20 years ago. That doesn't mean we're good at it.
Yeah. But also, I mean, just because you're able to do a certain amount of tasks at one time doesn't mean you're doing them well.
No, for sure. And just because you didn't crash your car into a fiery mess,
right,
doesn't make you good at it. It makes you lucky.
Exactly.
And maybe the rules of the road, budgeted that in to the whole rule of the fact that we are extremely fallible, and there's probably a good reason that the speed limit is 55 or 65 or 75 rather than 100, because we are humans and we can be stupid. Can be stupid. I'm not saying we are stupid.
We have our moments.
That's a whole other podcast.
Right? Yeah.
The person is smart, but people are dumb.
There you go.
What was that from? That was, I
don't know.
That's probably like Nietzsche or something like that.
Makes sense.
Who knows?
I don't know, man.
I don't either. Well, shoot. I think we burnt this out pretty quickly here. Maybe this should just be like a little half hour
short one.
Pick you up.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Nothing wrong with that. A little palatable. But see, we're taking up less of your attention. You're welcome. Now you can go out and
you can go out and be present
while you're listening or having listened to this on the way to the mall or the airport.
Right. Exactly.
You will, pay attention to the people behind you.
JB on the people mover.
Yeah, and when you're coming off the jet bridge and you choose to stop right there and put all the stuff back in your backpack, maybe look behind you. Oh, wait, there's still like 150 people on this plane. Maybe I'll just go over by the wall by the bathroom, or maybe I'll just take 2 steps to the right. I don't want to sound gripey or negative, but you know what? You can just, it's a small little act that can do a whole lot of good for the greater good of the people around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, there's a little episode for you.
I like it.
Go out there and keep your head on a swivel, people.
Yep.
Did we learn nothing from, who was that? Was that Coach O?
What?
Keep your head on a
swivel. I feel like they all said that.
I know. I'm just going to give Coach O'Leary the credit.
There you go.
Because Coach Scott O'Leary, Dos Pueblos High School, so glad that we were able to be part of his coaching career.
Good man.
Because they named the football stadium after him. He used to like fried bologna sandwiches. And
delicious. Right on. Well,
cool.
Thank you guys.
All right. Well, be good. And we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.